Hey YouTube, this is Ruchika. I'm basically a data stage developer. So today I thought I'm gonna give a little introduction about the data stage. This is my first tutorial about the data stage. Basically a few years back while I was learning the data stage, I couldn't find any good tutorials. So yeah, after some time I thought it's time for me to share my knowledge with the other guys who faced similar problem like me. So yeah, so this is my first tutorial about data stage, and here we go. So before learning data stage, I assume that you guys need to have shell scripting knowledge, basic unique commands, and how to write like shell scripts, and SQL language, Oracle SQL, and good knowledge about data warehouse concept and PLSQL too. So assuming you have knowledge about all these, I'm now moving to the data stage. So we just can't move to the data stage without knowing anything about its history, right? So yeah, basic history. I don't want to dig more. So basic history, it's an ETL tool. So basically extract, transform, and load. So we extract the data from the source and perform the transformation and perform or apply the transformation rules, and then load the data into the target. So basically we are extracting and then transforming and then loading. Apart from data stage, we also have other tools like ab initio, informatica. Yeah, but my primary focus is on data stage. So this was first developed by Lee Shuffler. I hope I pronounced it right. I'm sorry guys. And he first named it as Stage. Then in 2001, Essential Software acquired this tool and developed the first time parallelism concept. And in 2005, after Essential Software, IBM acquired the data stage tool. Once IBM acquired the data stage tool, it released many versions, I guess starting from 6, I guess. 6, 7, 7.1, 7.5, and then released in 2008, it released whole package. IBM Information Server, it has like whole package, data stage, quality stage, information analyzer, fast track, and master data management, and many other tools. Then after 2008, it has released several versions, but the most common version in the recent projects is 8.5. And yeah, there have been some other projects which are still trying to upgrade from older versions, but in the market as of now you could see versions people dealing with 7.5, 8, or 8.1, and 8.5 is the most commonest version. I didn't work myself on 9.1, but I have seen a few people going for 9.1 too. So yeah, that's pretty much about the history. So because we have talked about different versions of the data stage, it's absolutely necessary for us to learn about the differences between the versions, because obviously if you tell a guy that I have worked with 7.5 and 8.1, then the first question he's gonna ask you is, so what did you notice or observe the differences between the two versions, right? So that's a basic question. Even that was the this is one of the interview questions, primary interview questions, I guess. So yeah, let's come to the difference between the versions. In the 7th version, the data stage is platform dependent. It means that basically the data stage is built on Unix server, right? So if we have access to Unix server, we need not have separate access, we need not separately raise access for the data stage. But whereas in 8.1 from 8 version, the data stage, they made it platform independent. Even though we have access to Unix server, we need to separately raise requests for the accessing data stage. So that's basically platform dependent and independent. And the other important thing is that in the previous version, like 7x version and the before one, the repository is file based. So there is chance of corrupting the files and all the problems. but from the 8 version they made it database based repository. Repository is like storage of information of all the jobs, table definitions. I'll just show you how the repository looks like. So the name the repository has is XMeta database. So basically, like it's a two-tier architecture. 7x version is a two-tier architecture. Two-tier means two-tier means basically the Unix data stage, there is like bottom Unix server, and the data stage is built on the top of the Unix. So two-tier. And the 8x version is three-tier, whereas like because I said there is XMeta database, this is basically like bottom Unix server, then XMeta database on which the repository, all the files and everything is stored, and then on the top of that the data stage is built. So yeah, that's three-tier. And coming to the 7x version, there were four components, namely designer client, administrator client, director client, and manager to manager client. But from 8x version they merged this manager client into the designer client, so there are now only three components. And in 7x version there are no concept of parameter sets. We need to have like individual parameter for every job, but from 8x version the parameter sets concept were introduced. We can just create a whole set of parameter and give it a like parameter set name, and then we can use this parameter set anywhere in the whole project. So we need not give we need not give every parameter. It's tiresome, right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The other one is drawback in surrogate key generator stage. We have like whenever we need to have surrogate key generator when we run, because it's surrogate key generator, right? Because we need to have unique thing. So but when we run this in the previous versions, when we run for let's say we have run this and it has created 1 to 100, and the next time we run it didn't create from 101. It again started creating a key generator from 1. So that's not the right thing. So from 8x version they enhanced this, they enhanced the drawback. So from 8x version, if they introduced an option called create from the highest generated value, start from the highest generated value. So when we click that, when we run for the second time, the data stage gonna create the keys from 101, starting from 101. So yeah, along with that they introduced other stages like connector stages for the database connectivity, and other pivot enterprise stage and SAP packages. Yeah, there are like many other stages were introduced in 8x version. And other thing is only few functions were there in transformer stage, whereas in 8x version they introduced many type conversion functions, date conversion, and null handling functions. And the other thing pretty cool is they introduced in like quick find option for job search. Previously in 7x version we need to search manually for every job. So yeah, these are the basic differences and important differences between the two versions. So as I said, there were like three different components. So let's see what exactly the three components does. So the first is administrator client. Basically this we don't data stage developer works on the designer client, and data stage administrator works with the administrator client. So yeah, so the data stage administrator basically creates, deletes, and modifies projects, and he has like specific authorities or permissions to create and delete the data stage users, who could use what and everything. And he can have like specific parameters given and then properties, and we have and he can have like installation of NLS, which is national language support, because if we need to deal with some special characters or some other language characters. So yeah, basically he does everything on that. And the designer client is the place where data stage developer is more involved. So basically, as I said, he creates source and target definitions, what is source and what is target, and then between the source and target he performs all the transformation rules. And then once he has every idea, he then designs and develops the code. Code in the sense designs a job. And from the data and from the designer client we can also import and export to and from the data stage. We can import and export data stage jobs. Basically this thing importing and exporting, it was previously in the manager, but since the manager client was merged with designer client, now we can do it from designer too. And the other important thing is director client. So basically this is a place where we can validate, schedule, run and monitor DS jobs. We can have like see the log of all the jobs, what's going wrong and where it's going wrong and everything. We will deal with more in detail in future coming videos. So yeah, so basically what is a data stage job? It's basically I would say it has data stage has pretty cool graphical representation, so yeah, you would love that. So basically graphical representation of data flow, right? From we need to have source and a target, so the data needs to be flowed from source to target, and between that we can apply the transformation rule. So this basic is called this basic thing, flow of data from source to target, performing all the transformations, is called DS job. I mean DS in the sense data stage. So there are basically three types of data stage jobs. Server jobs, which runs on single node. We'll discuss more about node in next video. And the parallel jobs, which runs on multiple nodes. This is where most of your projects gonna work on, parallel and sequence jobs. I don't think in real time we are gonna use server jobs much. And the other thing is sequence jobs. So as the name suggests, we can have like parallel and service jobs, and we can just trigger them by giving all the things, and we can just like make them run in sequence, like one after other. So that's sequence jobs. So yeah, because we know about server and parallel jobs, so let's come to the differences. As I said, server jobs runs on a single node, whereas parallel jobs on multiple nodes. And server, because it's server, it executes on data stage server engine, whereas this parallel jobs executes on data stage parallel engine. Because server runs on a single node, it gonna handle like less volume of data, but because the parallel jobs run on multiple nodes, we can handle like huge volume of data. And again, it's single node, so slow data processing obviously, and we have like multiple nodes or multiple resources, I say, we have like faster data processing. And in server there are only less number of components in the sense like we have only a few stages in the palette, whereas in parallel jobs we have more number of stages or more number of components and features. And the other important difference is in the server jobs, all the, like in the background, all the data stage code is converted into the basic language, whereas in parallel jobs, in the background the data stage code is converted into OSH. I'm sorry, it's OSH, orchestrate shell script code. Except transformer, because it has it needs to have like some C++ compiler code too. So yeah, that's pretty much my introduction video. Hope you all liked it, and in my coming next video I'll discuss about what are the nodes we were talking about. I said parallel and server, right? So I'll discuss what exactly are the nodes and the configuration file. It's very important, apt config file. It's very important for the data stage to run. And how to create the table definitions. I'll show how exactly we can create table definitions on my data stage tool, and how to create parameter sets, and how to create the server jobs. Yep, so that's pretty much my introduction in the first video. Thank you guys, thanks for listening. Bye bye.